So becoming an Apple Distinguished School was a big step for us, transforming our school from a more lecture-centered model towards a much more student-centered model. Technology allows us to provide students with a very different learning experience. It is not, you know, a lecturer standing in front of the classroom and dispersing knowledge and students memorizing that and doing an exam about it afterwards, but rather creating learning activities within the classroom where students are very actively participating in the learning process. The technology is allowing us to again provide a learning experience that is much more active, where students take more control of their own learning and they also decide what it is that they want to learn more about.
Because our students really want to be involved in the learning process. They're mostly millennials now, moving into the Generation Z, and they are very interested in being part of the ownership in developing learning. And now in the classroom, in this flipped learning model, we can be much more attentive to their individual progress and the individual learning. There's been a lot of studies done about, you know, the brain activity during class time is lower, is flatter than when they're sleeping. That's Dr. Mazur from Harvard University. But it's the highest when they're doing activities like homework, etc. So we learned how we can now develop some of the content of learning prior to them coming into the classroom, and then we can spend more individual time with them in smaller groups, individually even, making sure that they are now they're using what they had learned, the theories, and putting it together and building a common understanding, building knowledge from that. And that's where we can really focus on the individual, the student-centered model.
What we want students to be able to do is to not look at one thing, but rather put more of the things together and synthesize, you know, new solutions to problems that perhaps don't even exist yet. Having students engaged in the learning process is a very important element, because once students are interested in what they're doing, they are learning much more and they're doing much better.
We've also seen that the classroom can be anywhere. The learning environment can be anywhere, literally anywhere. It's always available 24/7, so when they are not in the classroom, they also have access to the learning platform or learning research that they need to be doing. So from that sense, it's very helpful because it extends their learning outside of the classroom.
The technology is really a facilitator of the process of providing students with the learning that they personally really need. And we see that that students are using technology, you know, throughout the day. They're using their iPads when they're in the kitchen, looking up menus and, you know, putting them into practice straight away. We see that they're using this to film each other when they're laying up tables and looking back afterwards if they did it right. I mean, there's so many areas that they are using this technology on a daily basis that is making the learning much more fun. In addition to that, for the assessments, it is also very interesting to have students, rather than, you know, sitting in a classroom and doing a written exam, have students do different type of projects where they go out and create a video where they make an instructional video about how to clean a room, for example, or again how to lay up tables.
So we were finding ways to include the assessments in their learning, which before it was just a check of learning, checkpoint of learning, rather than a part of their learning process. One of the big transferable skills, I would think, using this technology is collaboration. Collaboration and the ability to make sense. There's so much information available in the internet, and being able to make sense of that to where it fits into what they're trying to build in their learning. That's where it becomes really, really interesting, where they see all of these past knowledge and current knowledge that's out there around the topic in hospitality, and how they can build that together with others, build it into something where it's their creation, it's something that they now really understand because they've built it. The impact of integrating technology in the learning has made a huge impact on our abilities to teach. And actually we don't even say that anymore. We're not teachers, we're facilitators of learning. So it's our abilities to deepen the learning of our student is so much more rewarding now, because we see the results of their really understanding it and participating in their learning. The activities that they're doing in the classroom are so engaging, and it's great for us to continue our journey as educators and learning how to deal with all these new generations. That is a huge plus and a benefit to us as a school. Knowing how to develop the students using integrated technology, but it's more than that. But that has been sort of the enabler in us rethinking, and disruption is a strong word to use, but rethinking our the way that we help people learn, and our responsibility in that.
Now we've actually changed the facilities to ensure that we can actually provide the best learning experience for students. That meant that we have changed the way that our classrooms are set up, from a classic classroom style towards an island style. That we invested heavily in the technology of antennas and more internet and broadband access. These are all things that are important as well. So the hospitality industry is an industry that has certain traditions that are important to maintain, and some of the skills that students need are still technical skills that are important. Students need to learn and need to know how to manage a restaurant, and they need to know how to manage a rooms division department. But just teaching students the technical skills, what we're rather doing is having students learn these technical skills while they are also developing the transferable skills. So our curriculum has maintained quite some of their traditional elements in terms of how to actually run a hotel business. But at the same time, we've incorporated a whole set of transferable skills that students really need, for their future. And what we see that companies are very interested in is to cater for a new type of traveler, for the new generation of travelers that is coming in. The Generation Z and the millennials, they have a very different view on what hospitality really is. So the recruiters that are coming to our school to actually recruit our students, they're looking for the students that can come up with new ways of providing service, new ways of doing things, and providing and catering, for this different type of traveler in such a way. So for us it is important that we are actually developing and stimulating students to think creatively and to think innovatively, and not just rely on what we've always done, but rather think about, why are we doing it this way? Can we not do it better? Can we not provide service in a better way?
Employability is our number one job, really. I mean, it's developing people who learn how to continue to learn lifelong for their life, and if they have learned where to find the critical information and how to analyze that critical information, to make decisions based on that, to filter through all of the noise and all of the stuff that is not pertinent to their particular problem they're trying to solve, then those are skills that are hugely valuable in the industry. We don't know where we're going to be in 10 years or 20 years in the hospitality industry, but those skills of learning how to identify issues, thinking outside of the normal restrictions that we've put around, especially in hospitality, and being more innovative in finding the solutions, then those are the skills that they can use for the rest of their life. And that's where if we can accomplish that in the short period of time that they're with us, and make them highly desirable in the hospitality industry, we will have done our work.